will show tomorrow. So I'm going to quickly list who's going today, and then we can get started. So we have today Alpha Gamma Delta, and then Kappa Kappa Gamma, Delta Gamma, Pi Beta Phi, and Kappa Delta. Does anyone have any questions before we get started? You can also use the chat box too as well, if you're not comfortable using the question and answer feature. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to hand it over to Lily and Julia.
Hi, everybody. I'm really glad to be here. I need to share my screen with some little photo presentation for you. Okay. Okay. Can you see that on that end, Julia? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I thought we would just introduce ourselves first. I'm Lily Hodgson. I'm chapter president of Alpha Gamma Delta at the U of I. I'm from Boise, Idaho. I went to Boise High, and my major is wildlife resources.
And hi, I'm Julia. I'm the vice president of recruitment for Alpha Gamma Delta. I joined this chapter in 2018. I'm from the Portland, Oregon area studying architecture at the U of I. And I'm involved in marching band, and I'm a campus tour guide. So if you have any questions about that, let me know.
She's the best at tours. And I also joined Alpha Gamma in 2017, so I'm a junior. And so then I thought we could just introduce our chapter a little bit. So we were founded in 1904 at Syracuse University in New York. That's the first Alpha Gamma chapter. And then our chapter, which is Delta Theta, was founded in 1958 at the University of Idaho. Our motto is loving, leading, lasting, and that kind of just represents our values, and they have deeper meanings for each of us, so I think that's really special that we're able to share that together. And then on to you, Julia. We're going to talk about kind of how we represent ourselves.
Yeah, so at the University of Idaho, the Greek system is kind of grounded on 3 pillars, those pillars being scholarship, leadership, and service. And so I just wanted to go into those 3 a little bit more in depth and talk about how our chapter directly connects to each one. Okay, so starting off with scholarship, this has everything to do with academics. And so each Greek house on campus has their own academic incentives. Some examples of ours are, we have Smarty Party. So if you obtain a certain GPA, then everyone who achieved that gets to go out to like a lunch or breakfast together. Super fun. We also have what's called Pi Party. And so that's for people who get a 3.14 GPA. And we have an alumni member who is an excellent pie baker. And so she'll bake pies for us and bring them to the chapter. And in addition to that, we have kind of a special reward for our members who obtain a 4.0 GPA in their first semester of college. And so for that, you would get a pearl on your badge, and we have badges that we wear pretty regularly. In terms of study hours, we require our members to complete 10 study hours a week of what's called non-proctored study hours. And so those are just hours that you log in electronically, and it just helps to keep on top of your academics. And additionally, we require our new members to complete 3 proctored hours a week. And so that's when you're studying with an older member and they're just making sure that you're staying on track. And then we also have what we call study buddies. And so those might be through our cis mother, cis daughter program. So when a member first enters the house, they're given what's called a cis mom, and that's kind of just an older mentor to look over you in the house. Of course, we have our bigs and littles as well that you get later on during your time as an Alpha Gam. And then we have a lot of members who share similar classes, and so that's also a great way to study together. All right, moving on to leadership. There are tons of leadership opportunities offered through every chapter on campus. So a couple examples of ours, like we said earlier, Lily is our president of the house. I'm the vice president of recruitment. But there's also tons of leadership opportunities for basically anything that you're interested in. So if you wanted to, say, run our social media page and be in charge of that, and take pictures of members for the social media, then you might be interested in our marketing position. We also have ones for like event planning or controlling the money that comes in and out of the house. So really, it's a broad spectrum of things. And a couple fun facts about our leadership. Freshmen can get involved in this from the start of being a part of the house. So we hold elections in November. And so you can get involved right away if you want. And then you also don't have to have any previous leadership experience to hold a leadership position, which I found to be super helpful because coming out of high school, I'd never really been involved in any leadership opportunities, never really been a part of clubs or other organizations, but I was able to jump right into that regardless. So yeah, that's about it for that one. And then lastly, we have service. So Fighting Hunger is our philanthropic focus, and we represent that through a variety of different methods. So firstly, Mr. Idaho is our biggest philanthropic fundraiser in the year. It happens in the spring, generally over Parents' Weekend, which is super awesome because my mom loved coming to that last year. And so that is basically a male beauty pageant where a member of each fraternity on campus comes together and they put on like a fashion show and other events. And so there's a picture of that in the top of the screen. And then we hold a mac and cheese fundraiser each year as well. And that happens in the fall. It's kind of our first big fundraiser for our organization. We also have a lot of involvement in food banks, and so this past spring, like earlier on in the semester, Lily and I traveled to Indianapolis for what's called Academy for Collegiate Officers, and we were able to get involved in a lot of volunteering through that, and so there's a picture of that as well in the bottom right corner. We also require our members to obtain 6 hours of community service per semester, and that can be done through any organization in Moscow. So for example, we have a lot of our members go to like the animal shelter and help out there, or volunteer on campus, and so it's a pretty great opportunity. And just a couple fun facts about our service. I like it a lot because you can see the direct impact that it has on the Moscow community through everything that we're doing. And our chapter also won the Outstanding Community Service Award through the University of Idaho this year, which was super awesome. So yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I was really excited about that. We really encourage our members to be involved in things that they also care about, not only feeding hunger or fighting hunger, but anything that they care about, like the environment or animals or anything that they want. And then for the last part, I thought that I would just kind of tell a little bit of my story and how my experience with Alpha Gam has evolved. So I joined in 2017, and so I made this little collage of photos to kind of explain what I'm talking about. So the top left is the first picture that I took right after getting my bid card on bid day in 2017. I sent this picture to my parents right away because I was too busy to even text them words. I was just like, here's a picture of what I'm doing. It was really exciting, and I knew that joining the right sorority was really important to me to succeed in school, because doing well in school is really important to me, but I really didn't know how it would help me yet. It was kind of confusing, but fast forward a few months, the next picture, that's me with two of my best friends, Maddie and Olivia. This is one of the pictures from our I Week. It's one of my favorite pictures. And my blood sister, my real sister, she was in a sorority too at U of I. And she would tell me some of the things that she kind of got from her sorority, but I really didn't know how it would affect me yet, because I know that everyone's experience was really different. So I was still kind of looking for that, like, what am I doing? Like, how is this going to help me at all? But fast forward a little bit further, the next picture, this all kind of has to do with initiation, but the next picture is a picture of me and my little Bailey. Sorry. That's a year later. She's getting initiated. Not only is initiation really important when becoming an official member of Alpha Gamma Delta, but it just kind of showcases all the things that bring us together as Alpha Gams and what ties us with like unique, like-minded people. And then a year later after that picture is the next one. My grand little Kit is getting initiated, so Bailey's little. And I definitely cried during that initiation because it's just so great to be able to see all like these people that I look up to, even if they're younger than me or older than me. Just seeing all of us together with this common tie is really special. And it really makes me proud to be an Alpha Gam, because these people inspire me so much, and I just like don't know what I would do without them. And then fast forward a little bit more, the bottom left, this is the first picture that I took after being elected president. I knew that going into a sorority, I was like, okay, maybe I'll join the leadership, because my sister had told me some things about it, but I really didn't think, I was like, president, like, what even is that? Like, what do you even do? But my sisters trusted me with the process, and they elected me to be their president, and I'm really, really happy that I get to do it. It's definitely not easy to be in a sorority or to be president. There are as many hard times as there are easy times, but it's really, really worth it. Like, it's worth it to me through all the hard times to be with these people and to be with these girls that are like-minded and that have your back no matter what. So it's really special. And then the last picture on the bottom right, that's a picture of my ring. I have it on. It just says Alpha Gamma Delta in Greek letters. I wear it every day. I look at it every day. It reminds me of my job as president and what I'm doing and why I do it, because it's so important to me. I'm gonna cry now. But it just is really important that I see it every day and that it reminds me of like who I am and why I'm here. So yeah, so I got a little emotional, but it's true. It's really special, and it's just such a great experience. Okay, and then I guess that's kind of all that we have. If anyone has any questions, or if we have some Q&A.
That was so awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn my video on really quick. Okay. So there's a few questions that came in that maybe you guys would like to answer. The first one is, I'm planning on studying abroad for the second semester. Will I be paying for both semesters to live in the house?
Yeah, so what we do, I'm sure it's somewhat similar for other chapters too, but for studying abroad, yes, we definitely have sisters that do that. Yeah, and so what you would be doing is just what our members do that study abroad is you don't pay for the time that you aren't living in the chapter. Like, you don't pay room and board because you're not living there, but so there definitely is a price reduction, yes. So studying abroad is totally an option for everyone.
Yeah, and I'll also say that every chapter is so different with like their financial process, how they, allow, I guess, how they do their financial system and how they allow members to study abroad and whatnot. So that's a good question to ask for each chapter, but thank you, Lily, for answering that. One asked, what's the difference between initiation and bid day?
Yeah, so bid day is right after like the last recruitment things. So it's the last day of recruitment when the new member gets a bid card for what chapter they're invited to join. And then, so that's like the first day of joining a sorority, basically. And then initiation is a few months. It depends on what chapter, what sorority, but it's usually 2 to 3 months after joining. That period is kind of the new member period when they learn about what values for us, it's like what values we represent as Alpha Gam, just the history of Alpha Gam. We learn all about that, and then after that, then initiation happens, which is when we get to learn kind of the deeper meaning of all those things, and then we're officially a member after that. So it's like it's a celebration. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Julia, do you have anything to add about that?
No, I think that's pretty good.
So
Awesome.
the next question. Oh, sorry
Go
about
ahead,
that.
Evelyn, sorry.
So the next question is, do all members live in the house?
For specifically us, no. We do have options for living out of house. It is a process. It's not automatic. But we definitely love when all of our members live in the house. But we know it doesn't always work that way, but the majority, yes, live in the house. But it's, for most chapters, it is an option. But there's definitely a process going through that.
Yeah, one exception to that is if your like parents are living in town, much like living in the dorms, you would probably rather financially want to live with them instead of paying to live in the house when you already have family there.
Yeah, options on how that goes about.
So that's one out of house option.
Awesome, thank you. Also, the next question we have is, which chapters are okay with I'll answer that question in a little bit. Let's see. How many girls live in your house?
In our house, currently, as of leaving, which is sad, very sad that we had to close our house just due to the situation, but we have about 60 to 65 currently living in, but it always varies based on the semester just due to, random numbers, but yeah.
Awesome. And then another question is, are there any animal science and pre-vet majors in the house?
Yes, there are. I actually was a pre-vet major for a year and a half before switching to wildlife resources, so I definitely know what you're talking about there. But yes, there are, and we actually have several others that are still continuing it. Julia Ferruccio, she is our finance chair, and she is a veterinary major. We have, I think, at least 2 or 3 other pre-vet majors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I could say, too, that we have such a diverse range of majors, too. Literally from every college, we have every single major you can imagine. It's pretty crazy how the interests of the girls that we have.
Yeah, I would say that you'll find a variety of different majors within every house.
Yeah, there's always someone that's taken a class that you have. It's pretty great.
Exactly. I'm so sorry. I'm like trying to balance between all these things and how to figure out. I also just want to mention too, like a lot of questions are about, how many people live in the house? What is your house like? And your sorority membership is not tied to the house. It's like so much more than that. You will find sisterhood and community out of the house as well. So another question, I'm trying to scroll through here. Any engineering majors? I would say, again, there's definitely probably some engineering majors within Alpha Gamma Delta, and any political science or Spanish majors.
Yep.
And the really unique thing too about Greek life is that, let's say there is not a major in one house, you'll find so many other girls in other houses, which is so awesome, that you can connect with that have those majors. And that's what makes Greek life and sorority life so great, is that your friends in your community is not just your house, it's way more than that. It's way outside of that.
Yeah, even just being in classes and you see like someone that's also in a sorority, you're like, she's in a sorority too, like we can relate just based off of that. Like that's
exactly. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna see what else I have here.
There's one here I really like.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So, Julia and Lily, what are some things you recommend when you're going into rush week?
Okay, Julia, go. You got it.
Yeah, I can start with that. So I think, and they'll tell you this over and over again during recruitment, but trusting the process is really important. And what I mean by that is that, so I'm a legacy to another chapter on campus, which means that my mom was in a different house on our campus. And so I kind of came in with this preconceived idea that like maybe I was meant for that house. And then I ended up getting dropped from that house during the process. And it was tough getting through that, but in the end, sometimes the women on the other end of the process kind of know where you would fit better than you do, which is kind of an interesting balance. But and so just trusting that like things are happening for the right reasons, I guess, is
it's really easy to get frustrated and upset too, and you just have to remember that it's like a double-sided process, and so there's a lot that goes into like how we decide or how it kind of processes through, but it's really important just to keep an open mind. I know everyone always says it, but it's really true. There's no other really way to phrase it.
Yes, I will speak to that. A lot of people ask, like, what's the best way to prepare for recruitment? And I always give the answer that it's just show up with an open mind, give every chapter an opportunity to tell you about their sisterhood and why it's so special, and again, be open-minded. Okay, so it is 4 o'clock. Thank you, Lily and Julia, so
Thank
much.
you so much for having us.
Of course, yeah. So we're going to go ahead and go to Kappa now. Kappa Gamma. Yes, thank you. This works. Okay. Hopefully. Oh, this awesome. Okay. There's so many things to balance here, so many questions, so many different feeds. So we have Peyton here, and we have
Natalie should be in here maybe in the next couple of minutes.
Okay, cool.
She was having trouble with him yesterday. But.
Oh, okay. If she's having more trouble, then go ahead and let Evelyn know, or Shani, like have her text her. So I guess we can, Evelyn and I can answer some of the questions that were broadly asked towards all sororities really quickly before Kappa Gamma shares more about their sisterhood. So one of the questions would be, Evelyn, I have so many different questions. Do you have one that you want to answer? So one of the questions, do girls move into the house right after bid day, or do you have to wait a semester? So typically on our campus, on bid day, that's typically when PNMs or new members move into their chapter house that they received a bid from. So you do not have to wait a semester. It's right then and there. So when you come for recruitment, you bring all the things that you're going to move into a chapter house with, and then as after bid day, then your chapter house will help you move all your things into their house.
Yeah, so on that note of bidding and all of that stuff, one of the questions was, will we get a detailed list of what we need to pack for rush? Yeah, so throughout the summer, once we get closer to recruitment, we'll be sending out an email with things we recommend that you bring with you.
Yes, that is really good to note. Okay, so we're going to let Natalie and Peyton go ahead and talk about Kappa Gamma.
Thank you. Okay. Can everyone see my screen okay? Kylie, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Perfect.
You're good.
All right, so I'm Peyton Goodman. I'm the current president for Kappa Gamma. And then I have my membership chair with me as well.
Hi, I'm Natalie, membership chair.
We're super excited to get to talk to you guys today. We're disappointed that we missed UIdaho Bound, but we're lucky that Panhellenic organized this for us. Okay, so just a little bit about our sorority. We pride ourselves on our 3 pillars, which are leadership, scholarship, and friendship. We love to have leaders by example in the house, leaders by position, just any kind on campus, all over. We also strive on scholarship and friendship. We love having sisterhoods with each other. I don't know, Natalie, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so like in recruitment, like these are some of the values that we look for in people, and we pride ourselves on like all of our members attaining all 3 of these values. I can say confidently that like everyone I know in our chapter lives by these values as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then I thought I would share our motto with you, which is dream boldly and live fully. I love this motto. It speaks to me really, just because you have to have dreams to go anywhere, and to have adventure and excitement in your life. Live fully, and that's what I've kind of gotten from Greek life as well. Just, I know it's a small 4 years of my life, but it's made such an impact on my life, and I've completely enjoyed it. Okay. So, our chapter is super involved on campus. We love making different connections with other organizations. We love just getting to be a part of everything, and each member is a part of something different. I've listed a couple of different clubs on campus which this doesn't even touch all of them, but this is just a few. But yeah, you might recognize some of the girls that from our house from Vandal Reps giving you tours on campus, which is really exciting, and Vandal Solutions for you business, marketing, econ majors. It's super exciting, and we love how diverse these women are in our house.
Yeah, and there's girls who will TA for classes as well, which is a pretty cool opportunity. And there's plenty of other jobs on campus too that a lot of our members are in as well.
And then for different kind of leadership opportunities through our house, we have 16 chapter council positions, and each of these positions serves a different role, which also they contain their own committee. So you're never working on something alone, and you're always a part of something in the house, which I loved. As a freshman, I didn't hold a position, and I served on the house committee, so I kind of got to know the workings of the house a little bit. There's something for everybody, and we try and give as many opportunities to people who are willing to take it. And I don't know where my thought was going with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and my freshman year as well, I was on the events committee, which was really fun because I got to help coordinate for our formals and other events. And then I was able to be the panel on chapter council last year, and then membership chair, of course, this year. So there's plenty of opportunities for those who want to get involved within our house.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about our philanthropies. We focus on a few different ones. We support our headquarters supports Reading is Fundamental, and we have the Kappa Kappa Gamma Foundation, which supports Kappa alumni if you're ever in need, if something just extreme happens, like what we're going through right now with this pandemic. The Rosa McGill Fund has been funding Kappa alumni that aren't being able to work right now during this time. So that's always a great thing we donate to every year, along with Reading is Fundamental, which is one of the biggest literacy foundations. And we love to donate different books, take them to elementary schools to read them. Our big philanthropy week, which is called Kappa Classic, we donate all of our funds to that. And then during the spring semester, we have our flower grants during Valentine's week, and we usually pick and support a local cause. We've had the Boise Burnout Fund, we've supported the Lemhi Animal Shelter, and the Alternatives to Violence on the Palouse, which was right there in Moscow. So there's just so many different ways we like to support our community nationally, within our membership, and then locally. And then this is exciting. So Girls Academy is also something Kappa does. And so what this is Kappa chapters apply nationally, and eight chapters receive this really amazing ability to go to different middle schools and inspire young women going through, just different changes. Like middle school is such a just a pivotal moment in your life. You kind of start learning more about yourself. You kind of learn what your interests are, your likes, and everything. And especially with our big social media platforms we have now, and just keeping your self-confidence. We show that, self-love, and we try and inspire all these young women to be their best selves, their true selves, So we were going to have this event this last spring, but we had to cancel it because of the pandemic. So we've rescheduled for the fall semester, and we're very excited. We've reached out to 3 middle schools in the Moscow area, and we're super excited about it.
Another thing too about this is there's a whole committee for Girls Academy as well. So it's another way to get involved in our house, because there's someone who heads all of Girls Academy, and then she has her committee to help her as well. So.
Okay, so along with one of our pillars being scholarship, we have been top 3 in grades for the past 104 years. We love being studious. We don't require any study hours, which is kind of unique to our house. We love to keep each other and ourselves accountable for what we do, and we have little incentives called Smarty Panties, and we have cappuccinos where we all sit down in the dining room for about an hour and do our homework, and then we get a gift card out of we randomize it, and then that's our reward for studying down there for an hour, which is just kind of a fun way to mix up your studying. I like to go down and study there, but yeah, and then we also have a study room, which is in our basement, and that place is 24 hours quiet, so we really have different atmospheres for all studying needs. I know there's a few girls that love to study in our formal living room. I personally study in my room most of the time.
And one interesting thing, or one actually beneficial thing, is that our VPAE, so our academic chair, she is still putting on Smarty Panties and cappuccinos for us, even though we're online school now and from our houses. So every week she just puts up a thing on Facebook, and we all put in our ABEs that we had for the week, and so she's still mailing out gift cards and then saving all the Smarty Panties, I guess, for when we get back, which is really nice of her.
Okay, and some of the ways we stay connected with each other on Greek Row within our Panhellenic community, we have sister houses that Panhellenic does for us, which is such a fun way to get to know different houses that you may not know many people from. I love this experience. We made gingerbread houses with Theta, and oh my gosh, that was so much fun. Natalie, you organized that event, didn't you?
That was when I was Panhellenic delegate. So every semester we put on a sisterhood with a different sorority, and I was lucky enough to be able to put one on with an MGC sorority as well. So it's just a really cool way to get connected throughout all of campus, not just with other sororities. And you get as the position, I got to choose what we got to do for our sisterhood. So last year as well, we had a barbecue s'more event with Alpha Gamma Delta, which was also really fun.
Yeah, that was super fun. Oh my gosh, it was getting warm then too, so we had a blast. We also support all of our Panhellenic sisters by participating in their philanthropies. We feel that we get a great turnout at our philanthropy, and we just want to show that same respect and involvement to theirs as well. And plus, they're such a blast. All of them are so different. Yeah, they're so much fun. And just because we're all in different houses doesn't mean we aren't friends. I love seeing girls I know on Greek Row. I'll see them at game days. I'll see them just walking around campus, and we're all so friendly towards each other. So it's a great community to be a part of. Absolutely. Okay, well, that's all we have for you today. But do you guys have any questions for us at all?
There's some questions in the Q&A. So one of them is, does most sororities have everyone sleep upstairs in the attic or individual rooms? So for our sorority, we have a sleeping porch, and so all the members sleep in there. We used to have day beds in the room, but once our entire second floor got remodeled with hardwood floor, so all the day beds were taken out. So yes, we all sleep on the sleeping porch.
Thank you, Natalie. I really like this question. I want to ask you guys, why did you choose your sorority? Why did you choose Kappa Kappa Gamma?
Oh, that's a good question. I chose Kappa just because I felt every time I walked through the door during recruitment, I just felt welcomed, and all the girls were so friendly. One of the girls that I had talked to on a couple of the days I was cheering with, and so I kind of knew her from tryouts just a little bit. I didn't know her much, but she was so much older than me, but we got to know each other just a little bit, and I just loved the house because of how she spoke of the house and what these girls meant to her, and I just loved hearing that, and I totally understand that now. These girls are also different, and they just make this house a home for me.
Yeah, I had a similar experience as well. So going through recruitment, I was obviously really nervous, like a lot of girls are as well. But when I was in Kappa, I just felt really comfortable, and there was one person in particular who stood out to me, and I like saw what I wanted to be like as a new college student, like someone who had a lot of confidence and was really friendly, and so I saw her as like this figure, like, oh, if she's like this, then hopefully like everyone else in Kappa is like this. And yeah, so it was just like that one person who inspired me to go Kappa, but everyone else has definitely made the decision really good.
That's a really good answer. I also really like this question too. I know you talked a little bit about committees, and someone asked, do you have to be a part of a committee?
Yes, we all assign everybody to a committee. If you tend to be busier, then we take that into account as well. But yes, everybody is on a committee. They're a part of, everyone's a part of something.
Awesome, thank you. And then another question was, how has Kappa's friendship helped with the first year's adjustment period?
So we pair our freshmen and sophomores in rooms, and they're kind of like your buddies, and we go through the new member process. We have we call them Owl Pals, and they go on fun little dates like getting coffee or anything like that, and that kind of helps with that adjustment, I think, just for somebody to look to, turn to when you have questions about something, because everything kind of hits you all in like the span of like 5 days, and so many new things. Like you don't have your mom to turn to, and you're upset and like nervous about classes. Like I had so many different questions, and the sophomores I was paired with were fantastic and were so willing to help us. So we feel that it's our turn to help them as well. So it's kind of a giving back process, I guess, as you move in.
And we have like a freshman retreat that we put on the beginning of the year, which is really nice. I remember the retreat my freshman year was a way to like get to know everyone else in my PC a lot better. And with the rooms, we like switch it every single quarter for the freshmen, so it's an opportunity to get to know more girls and branch out a little more.
Cool. I guess another question relating back to the committees. How much time do you spend every week doing sorority-related stuff, like working on the committees?
It kind of depends on what season we're in, what, I don't know. Each position kind of has like a specific event, so it just kind of depends on when it falls. So you could be busy weekly or bi-monthly. It just kind of depends, and we change committees every semester unless you love this committee you're on, then we take that into account as well. So it just kind of depends.
Yeah, I would say that every sorority has like similar time commitments, I guess if that's what you want to call it, across the board. You know, we always have similar meetings that people attend to each week, and different things like committees in Kappa Kappa Gamma. But there's also committees in other sororities too that help with anything that Kappa or any chapter is doing. Let's see what else. Let's ask one more question. What is your biggest piece of advice for recruitment?
My biggest piece would probably be just to be yourself. Show us who you truly are, and that'll kind of pair you well with your dream house, I guess?
Yeah, I'd probably say something similar too, and just I know that it's hard to be like not like to say don't be nervous, but of course everyone's going to be nervous, but the place where you feel most comfortable and the one that you are yourself in is just like the choice that it's I know it's hard to choose in recruitment where to go, but that for me at least where I was most comfortable was the most helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Natalie and Peyton, for jumping on this call and sharing a little bit about Kappa. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Okay. We're excited
Cool.
to meet you all this summer, though.
Yeah, thanks all for listening and for the questions.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have, we're going to move on to Delta Gamma, but before we start, Shani, I was wondering if you wanted to pop in. We've got a lot of questions about finances and about like the matching process.
Yes, and the fun part with Panhellenic, so yes, hello everybody. I am going to answer these questions because it's always kind of hard to understand. Luckily, to a certain extent, our kind of national partner, if you will, for Panhellenic has set up a process that encourages and promotes the most number of women that sign up for recruitment. We call all PNMs, potential new members. So it really promotes this idea that the maximum number of PNMs that go through the sorority recruitment process are in turn matched to an organization. So we usually say about 85% of the women who sign up for sorority recruitment do end up getting a bid at the end of the process. So those other 15%, is my math right? The other 15% that may not receive a bid are going to be a majority of the time it's the women who decide that maybe sorority life isn't for them right now. The process may be overwhelming, anything like that. So the majority of it is not because you are not asked back, or it's not because sororities are not interested in getting to know you. It's more just so it's a personal decision, and our community really wants to respect that, because your experience in college is completely up to you, and we don't want to infringe on that. But there, of course, are always other opportunities as well to join sorority life if you realize that maybe right now is not the right time. So just remember to go into sorority recruitment kind of with the idea of just being curious. And I think that will help too in terms of alleviating any of those nerves as you kind of start to get to know chapters and figuring out what you're looking for. And then another question was about finances. So every sorority is going to be different based off chapter facilities, if you are living in or outside of the chapter facility, and different national fees, headquarter fees, that kind of thing, right? So what will happen, I would say they probably range, if you're living out of the chapter facility, anywhere from $600 to maybe $1,000, depending on what is happening in that semester. So keep that in mind. Usually your first semester is going to be the most expensive because you're paying one-time fees, things like that. But also keeping in mind that you will 100% be given all financial information prior to recruitment and prior to accepting a bid or committing to it. So we definitely want to make sure you're educated throughout the process and you are not kind of going into it blind, if you will. So you'll be given all information, what room and board fees include, how much dues are, and kind of what they go to from all of our 10 sororities. So that will be coming out soon. Evelyn is working on a lovely packet that you all will get to receive and learn more about chapters as well, and that will include financial information. So thank you for your questions, and you'll for sure be getting that information. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Any other questions I need to answer?
I think that's it for right now. Thank you so much, Shani. I know there's like a lot of general questions popping up in the question and answer feature button. And so after the chapters are done presenting, I will make sure that Evelyn and I stick around to answer all of those questions. So just to keep time going, and each chapter has the amount of time that they were given, we're going to keep going, but we will be sure to answer all the questions definitely by the end. So now we have Brooke, Peyton, and Lizzie talking about Delta Gamma. So I'm going to hand it over to them now.
All right. Hi, guys. Thank you guys so much. Again, kind of what I heard the last chapter finishing up to say. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to really sit down and want to listen more about our chapters today and about Panhellenic as a whole. I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen with you guys, just a little presentation or just a little visual. Let me know, can you guys see what I'm trying to share? Peyton,
Yes.
is this what
Yes.
you can see it? Okay, awesome. Okay, sorry, I'm still learning Zoom just as everyone else is. Okay, so yeah, thank you guys so much. My name is Brooke Jones. I'm Vice President Membership at Delta Gamma, so I'm a junior. I'm going to be a senior this year, as crazy as that is. I'm a management human resources major. And yeah, next is Lizzie.
Hi guys, sorry. It won't let me start my video, but I'm gonna try to figure that out. But my name is Lizzie. I'm a junior going into my senior year. Oh, here we go. Okay.
There you are.
Yeah, my name is Lizzie. I am the director of primary recruitment at DG, and yeah, that's all.
Hi everyone, my name is Peyton Oram and I'm also a junior going to be a senior. It feels like I was just like in your spot, honestly. But yeah, I am studying marketing and accounting with a certificate in entrepreneurship. So yeah, that's me. And I'm the chapter president.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, you forgot to say it. Yeah, so this is just a little bit about DG. So just getting started for all you guys here. Let me try and get my, okay, yeah. So the coolest thing about Panhellenic, like you guys have heard, I'm sure by now, but every sisterhood is completely different. And every sisterhood has different values. Every chapter has different values and kind of things that pushes them forward to do good within their community. And so some of the things that DG really fosters highly within our members and what we kind of look for through the recruitment process, we like to foster high ideals of friendship, promoting everyone's educational and cultural differences and interests, creating in them a true sense of social responsibility, and to develop in everyone the best qualities of character. So again, like I said, every sisterhood's completely different, and that's what makes our Panhellenic so awesome and our community so awesome, is that, like, again, I just heard kind of Shani and Kylie explain, like, everyone finds their home, and it really does work out that way. So when you're going through recruitment, again, just keeping your ear open, listening for the things that mean a lot to you, and every chapter, you know, has a lot of different things to kind of offer. Okay, come on. There you go.
Yeah, so everyone is coming up to university. You know, you guys are all here because you're interested in Greek life, but everyone's main reason, you know, for going farther after high school is academics. And so one thing about our community is we definitely promote like academic growth within each sorority within the whole Greek life community, and our chapters are just a great place where we can grow in the educational part and help each other along that way. And so as far as DG goes, we are in the middle of revamping our academic system, so it's more flexible for members throughout their busy weeks because everyone has such a crazy schedule as it is. So it'll kind of look like throughout the week different times where like study sessions will be offered and proctors will be there. And those proctors just come from people who hold positions, and those girls will be a great like resource for members because they will help them in their studies, and hopefully some of those members will have gone through maybe some of the same classes or anything like that. So it's just kind of designed openly to get help and do good within your classes.
Yeah, actually, the academic programs within House is actually one of my favorite features that houses actually have to offer. I think it's on everyone's mind when they're moving from, you know, high school curriculum to college curriculum. That's like super daunting. And you only hear crazy things about it, right? Only the scary things you hear. So I think being able to have not only a home before you start those crazy days of school, but having people to walk to class with, things like that. Those are my favorite parts of really getting integrated into a house, is that, you know, the first day of school, first day of class, I have people I'm walking to class with, and I have people who have, you know, gone through the same classes and things that I've done. So I really enjoy how we like promote and help each other academically through the community as well.
Okay, philanthropy. So DG is really special because we have our own foundation called Service for Sight, which benefits people with visual disabilities. And so to raise money for that, we have 2 philanthropy events throughout the year. We have one in the fall semester, which is usually a little bit smaller, something like selling pizza or burgers or selling sweets that we made. And then we have one in the spring, which is called Anchor Splash, which is super fun. And it's pretty much, we all go to the swimming center at U of I, and we do relays, and we do synchronized swimming, and just all this fun stuff. And a lot of the chapters come out for it. It's something that really connects our Panhellenic community, and we actually have a really fun video to show you guys that will explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, and again, you guys are gonna have to tell me if you can see it and when you can, so that I know that I'm sharing the right thing. Hold on.
I'll let you know.
How do I? Okay.
Another
Here.
thing that's
You
also
share.
during this week is like, it's just like a huge week for chapters to come together and help raise money for this foundation. And so at the end of the week, we hold this Anchor Splash at the pool gym, and it's just kind of like a celebration for like all the chapters for like participating in such like a fun-filled week of raising money for visual impairment.
Can you guys see the YouTube video pulled up?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. Let's play it.
I don't think we can hear it.
Yeah, I can't hear it.
You guys can't hear it?
Mm-mm.
Seriously? How do I? Oh, let's see.
Tell me if you can hear it now.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Now? Anything?
No.
Well,
Brooke,
that's
do you have AirPods in or any like headphones?
Yeah, I have AirPods in. Should I take
So,
them out?
yeah, take those out and then unhook your Bluetooth and then try the audio on your computer. I think that might work.
Okay.
I'm not very. There we go.
There we go. Okay.
So yeah, you guys can see all the different groups that were involved in that and how it really does connect our Greek community so well. And it's just a really fun way for all of us to get together and do some good.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing, like kind of Lizzie was just pointing out, like the only DGs, the only Delta Gammas in that video were literally the people in the yellow shirts, and everyone else that was there were other people from the Greek community. So that video is, I think, just a good example of how philanthropy really does drive everyone in the Greek community, and it drives everyone to support each other too, which is super important and exciting and fun, as you can see. Definitely.
Yeah, and aside from like philanthropy and all that like fun, exciting things, there are tons of leadership all across these sorority houses. They're just like amazing. You can get involved in all sorts of different ways, little or big. But within Delta Gamma, we have 8 vice presidents and chapter president that lead and oversee our council and our members. But as like a whole, I think one of my favorite things about like being Greek is just like the leadership among like the community and the vibe that it has. It just pushes you to like get in leadership positions within your degree, within your college, within your clubs, like within anything you're interested in, because so many people are doing it around you, and it's like you want to get involved, you want to push yourself, and the Greek community really just has so many opportunities for people to get involved inside a chapter home and outside your chapter home. And I think that's incredibly special for our campus and huge for people to go in the outside world after college.
Yeah, exactly. And like Peyton said, in DG, you know, we have those 9 VP and president positions, but we also have 20 director positions. And those positions realistically are open and eligible for any person in any member class, with the exception of a couple, you know, when you need a couple more years experience being in the house. But all those experiences really are great opportunities to put on your resumes, you know, ways to really just get yourself involved. And like Peyton said, you're just surrounded by people who are hungry to do the same thing, and who have done a lot of the same things. So again, you're networking, you're building those contacts, and they're really getting you connected to do a bunch of other things outside of your home. So again, just a step up.
All right. So there's a lot of things that the Greek houses give to you, and one of those is the chance to connect with other houses. So our Panhellenic connection comes from events like our philanthropy, like Anchor Splash. It comes from doing sisterhoods with other houses. It comes from just making friends in classes, having that common thing that you're both in Greek houses. And it's a really cool, special thing. And it's something that us at DG definitely hold high up, is to have good relationships with other Panhellenic houses. Just myself, I came to U of I with other friends that were rushing, and we've stayed friends. We went to different houses, and we've stayed friends throughout the whole entire college experience. And it's just really awesome. We go to formals together, we do sisterhoods together, and it's really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a really awesome, small, tight-knit community, Greek community at U of I. So it kind of happens just the way that everyone kind of ends up knowing each other and becomes friends with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just to kind of wrap it up, not only involvement outside of DG, but again, just involvement outside of our Greek chapters. If you are a student in Moscow at U of I think it's pretty common to recognize your Greek peers everywhere outside your house, whether it's on campus, off campus. And in the crazy case of to the far left picture, actually a senior in our house is the current Miss Idaho, and she was even on TV competing for Miss America. So again, you're just like seeing these people involved in everything. To explain the picture on the far left, those are 2 Greek students who are actually our VP and president of our student body, and they are both Greek students. The woman in that picture is actually Fossey, one of our awesome seniors. But she was vice president, and Jacob Lockhart actually is a member of Beta Theta Pi, and he was the president. So just showing, you know, we really are involved in a lot of other things outside of our chapters, and it's actually our chapters that are driving us to do that. So yeah, that's pretty much all we kind of have for you guys.
So questions?
Yeah, any questions?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for sharing that with us. We really enjoyed seeing your presentation. One of the questions here I see before we run out of time is, what is the significance of the anchor in your chapter?
Peyton,
yeah, I'll go for it. So our anchor is like our symbol. It's like our badge. It's kind of the symbol of what we wear to represent Delta Gamma. When we were founded, it was just like the symbol that represented all the values of DG and what DG stood for. And I'm not wearing some shirt right now, but when we dress up in pinnable and stuff, our pin, or what we wear over our heart, is the anchor. So yeah, just a symbol of DG, and yeah, symbol of hope and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, it was like the symbol of hope, and like our founders thought hope was like one of our main values and one of our main things. So yeah, that's what the anchor stands for.
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
Here's another question. How many members are in your freshman class?
Currently within our freshman class, I am going to say the numbers are always crazy, keeping them all straight. But in our freshman class currently, I want to say 23.
Yeah, 23, 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that also to jump in and speak for all sororities on campus, the new member classes range in the mid-20s. So there's really no set number that each sorority has 25 new members. It's definitely a range.
Definitely.
So what advice do you guys have for recruitment?
I'll just be quick so maybe Brooke and Lizzie can add, but I would say the biggest piece of advice that I was told before I went through is just keeping an open mind. It's kind of easy to get lost in the whole process because it's very overwhelming, but just taking time to realize what's going on in your own head and really just focus on your values and what you want in your life moving forward and not anything else. Just keep a very open mind of what will make you grow the most.
Yeah, I would say the same thing, and something you're going to hear over and over and over, and you're going to hate it, but trust the process. And again, like, you will end up where you want to end up. And like Peyton said, like, we are all here trying to impress you guys. Like, we want you guys to want to be a part of this experience. So, you know, ask the questions you want to ask, get the information you want to know. And again, just keep your mind open. I know coming from Idaho, sometimes it's easy to like hear a lot of things about Greek system or U of I or things like that. But when you're going through this experience, really, you know, go through it with a clear mind and just listen. Again, make it your experience. We're really trying to make it your experience.
Definitely. And I would just say be yourself. The only real way that the process is going to work and you're going to find where you belong is to actually be yourself. Don't be nervous. Everyone is going through the same thing. Everyone is nervous, and it's okay. Just be yourself, be confident, ask what you want, do what you want.
Yeah, definitely try and have like the most fun with it too, because that's just like how you'll make it the best.
Definitely.
I just also want to ask you guys one more question since it's Delta Gamma related, and we kind of cut into your time in the beginning. But what is your number one favorite memory of being a Delta Gamma? So maybe if you want to answer that really quickly before you leave.
Okay, I'll just go first again. I don't know if I can pick out like first memory or like, I think just my favorite memories are those just like on the couch being crazy, or like memories that you kind of like stop and like think like, oh, like this is like something that I'm gonna like look back on and like just like love that memory. And just like little moments that you don't realize are so special are like the best. It's like the ones you can't describe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think any house would say probably, you know, their sisterhoods, or the thing when you guys are actually all together at the same time. That's probably the best feeling, is like, you know, when you're all together and you're really not worried about anything else, but you're spending time, you know, within those four walls and really getting to know each other. Those are always the best times for sure.
I definitely agree with that. Any times when the whole house is together is so fun, and especially the PC bonding times, because that's really your girls. Like, that's who you really can rely on when you first get into the house. So those are definitely some of the best memories.
Thank you guys so much. There's some other Delta Gamma questions coming in, but I will let everyone know that after the Panhellenic Spring Preview is over, we're going to work really hard too on our social media pages to promote all of these chapters. So this will be an opportunity for Delta Gamma to talk more about their values and anything else that they want to share in the future. So follow us on our Instagram page. You can follow them on their Instagram page as well. And thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys. And thanks everyone for watching.
Awesome.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye. Good luck.
Okay. So we have Pi Beta Phi next. I'm not sure where they are right now, but Evelyn and I can answer some questions. So we'll start. Evelyn, do you have one you want to answer right now? Oh, yeah, go ahead. There, I have one here. It says, can you switch chapters after recruitment? That's a really good question. So typically, when you receive your bid on bid day, you are a new member of that chapter. And then it isn't until initiation, once you're initiated within that chapter, you are unable to switch out of a sorority. So once you receive your bid, and let's say maybe your experience isn't what you expected, or Greek life or sorority life isn't what you anticipated it to be, or it's not working well with what you wanted, you can pin or drop, and then rush at a later date or go to a different university and rush there. But once you're initiated, then you cannot switch a sorority. I hope that answers your question. I don't know if Shani or Evelyn want to add to that.
I'll add a little bit. Kylie's completely correct. Just for something to keep in mind, like out of the best interest of all of our organizations, we want to make sure that CNMs aren't popping from one organization to another. So if you do go through the primary recruitment process and you do kind of make it to the end and receive a bid, there is kind of a time limit as to when you can join Panhellenic Life again at the University of Idaho, because we want to make sure that you're making a decision that's best for you. So maybe if it's not right for you right now, maybe that's thinking on it and kind of figuring out truly what you do want from the experience. So no, that is I don't want to say you're limited, but it's just making sure that we're keeping our sororities, keeping their interests at heart as well as yours. And then if you do at any point withdraw from the recruitment process or are released, you can always COB later as well. So COB, by the way, is continuous open bidding. That just means that it's not the primary recruitment process. It's a little bit more informal. Chapters who are able will host different events throughout the semester, both in the spring and the fall, if they're looking for some new sisters to join their chapters.
I think this also kind of tags or kind of piggybacks off the question as to like, will you know what house you want? Like, is it easy to decide? And we have some really great things in place to ensure that you do find the house that is going to be your perfect fit. And like, for example, during the recruitment process, we have what we call ROGAMAs or recruitment counselors, and they are there. They're disassociated from their sorority, so you won't know which house they are part of, but they will help you through the decision-making process. If you're like stuck or you don't know, or if you can't decide, or really anything, they'll be there to help counsel you through making those decisions each day. But they so I would say that it's very rare, like Shani said, it's very rare for people to just like drop sororities and join another one. Like, that is not something that ever happens. So hopefully that answers that. I know Evelyn was a ROGAMA recruitment counselor last year, and she can maybe speak a little bit more to that.
Kylie, I'm so sorry, I didn't hear that, what you were saying.
I was just saying, someone was asking, will I know what house I want? And I was telling them a little bit about how we have recruitment counselors that help PNMs go through the recruitment process, and that you were one last year. And maybe you can talk a little bit about how you can help counsel people through whether or not they're struggling to find which house they want or are unsure.
Yeah, I think during recruitment, a lot of my women in my group, they kind of just would overthink everything, and they would just get in their heads and kind of just come up with all these crazy scenarios. So they would come to me and let me know how they were feeling, and we would just sit down and we would just talk, and I was like, how are you feeling? Like, what's going on? And they were just feeling so overwhelmed. So it was great that they had their ROGAMs to talk to them about their feelings, how they were feeling about all the different chapters and stuff. And it's kind of just, I don't know, we just kept telling them, like, give every chapter a chance, get to know them. I had girls that were like, I really don't like this chapter, but I'm going to be open-minded and go hang out with them this day. And then the next day they'd come back to me and they'd be like, oh my God, like, I just found out about this chapter and they do this and they're so amazing. And so just like really keeping an open mind and being open to learning different things, because you have, I want to say, like 30-40 minutes with the chapters, and so you really can't fully judge everything they have to offer in just that short amount of time. But we're going to go ahead and move forward with Pi Beta Phi. This is Sophia.
We will also, sorry, Evelyn. Oh, I was just going to say, we will also continue to answer that question after more chapters start to present. But yes, we will. I think I need to give Katie Dye will be here in a second. So Evelyn, if you want to finish up, if you had any lasting thoughts, finish up that question.
So basically what I'm just trying to say is really utilize your recruitment counselors when the time comes, and just keeping that open mind and really just listening to how you're feeling. And yeah.
Yeah, and also when you meet each house on the first day and you continue to go to different houses following, you'll always have you'll naturally have a feeling of where you want to be. You'll naturally know kind of what you're looking for. So I wouldn't worry about whether or not it's easy enough to make a decision, because sometimes it's actually way harder than you think, because you love so many things about so many different chapters that you're visiting. And every chapter is so unique. So but they're all unique in really special ways. So no matter what, you're going to find the house that you're supposed to be in, and it'll all feel great on bid day. Okay, Katie doesn't have the link. Okay. Let me text Shani. Evelyn, do you want to answer another question?
Yeah, so one of the questions I saw earlier was what rush week looks like. So I'll go ahead and break that down for you guys. So once again, it's August 15th through the 18th, and it's broken down into 4 different days. So day 1 is conversation day. This is when all the women will meet all 10 chapters, and then just, getting to know them. And then we move on to day 2, which is sisterhood. This is when women really start showing off their sisterhood, their finances, all of that fun stuff, and getting to open up more. Day 3 is philanthropy day. So this is when our chapters get to show off their different philanthropies, what they do. And then the final day is preference day. So this is when women attend the preference ceremonies. And later that evening, that afternoon, will be bid day. So preference and bid day are on this same day. But yeah, we can talk about that more as our chapters finish.
Hi guys. Sorry about that time difference. I totally thought it was Pacific time, so I thought I had another hour, but thank you so much for waiting for us.
Of course. So this is Pi Beta Phi. We have Sophia and Katie. So I'm just going to mute myself and turn off my camera for you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Katie. I'm the chapter president for Pi Phi. And then over there is Sophia, the vice president of recruitment for Pi Phi. And I'll actually share my screen and play our little PowerPoint for you guys, and then Sophia's gonna start us off.
Okay. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was kind of how we create a strong sisterhood. So we do a lot of sisterhood events that get really personal, like across the line. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. Just a lot of bonding activities and games to kind of get to know each other on a more personal level. Sometimes like making connections with like so many different girls can be hard at first. So these kind of things help us with that. And then living our values and holding each other accountable. So our values are integrity, lifelong commitment, philanthropic service to others, personal intellectual growth, and sincere friendship. So basically just trying our best to live with these values. And like it says, holding each other accountable, making sure that others are able to do this as well. And then we have a big little mentor program. And so, when you come in as a freshman, you get your big, which is kind of like a big sister. And we want to make sure that big sisters know how to be a good mentor. I know for me, I was a big sister for my brother. So if you have that, you kind of have an idea of what it's like. But if not, we make sure to help girls out with this. And bigs are basically there to hold you accountable for academics, mental health, overall well-being, whatever you kind of want to focus on. And it's a really strong and unique relationship that carries through, not even just your college experience, throughout like your whole life. So that's for that.
And then for member involvement outside of the Greek community, we have a lot of members who are involved with a very wide variety of stuff on campus. And we have some girls that are doing undergrad research, pre-vet club. You can see Kylie, she went up one weekend and they did a bunch of like vaccinations and stuff on cattle. And then we have girls on the UI cheer team, club volleyball, honors college, Vandal Catholics, College of Life Sciences, the SARB, Vandal Health, college FFA, peer advisors for different majors like psychology and stuff like that. So there's so many different opportunities you can have, not only just within the chapter, but outside as well. Okay, and then how do we focus on academics? So we recently just implemented a new study program this year, actually. And so we have study hours at a certain place and time, and you go when you can. So it's available every day, and there's certain hours for each of those days, and it's always consistent. So you can figure out what works with your schedule. And then we have people there, girls there that will mark down your hours for you, so it's super easy. And then we do a lot of study incentives. One of these are the Smarty Panties. And so there's a little typo there, sorry. But we actually do a thing where we get a bunch of Victoria's Secret underwear, and if you win, you can enter to win if you get an A on any big test or project, and you can win a pair of panties, so that's kind of fun. And then we have our 1,000 A's project, so at the end of the semester, we all enter in our A's, well, throughout the semester, and then at the end of the semester, we try and make sure that we've hit 1,000 A's, kind of do a little celebration for that. And then we have Study Buddies, which is a check-in system, and so you get paired up with one other girl in the house, and you write down each of your goals, what you want to accomplish, and this person's basically there just to check in with you on the weekly basis and make sure that you're getting everything done that you wanted to. Another cool thing is you get a Dean's List Pearl for your pin once you've gotten a 3.5 or above. Just one semester you can get one, which is fun because you kind of get to show it off when we wear our pins. And then the scholarship dinner with professors to recognize our sisters. We do that every semester as well. You can invite your professors, and we just hand out a bunch of awards for everyone's accomplishments, and that's a cool way to kind of involve the professors, have them see what you're doing, and it's pretty fun to be able to recognize each other like that.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to talk about our philanthropy. So Pi Phi's philanthropy is Read, Lead, Achieve, and it inspires a lifelong love of reading that can unlock true potential, creating a more literate and productive society. So basically it's just funding education for literacy. So something that like I didn't even know before becoming a Pi Phi was that 1 in 4 children are actually, like, they can't read, they're illiterate. And so it's just this huge problem that you don't really think of, like, until you see the literacy facts about how, like, it's really, like, it's a true, like, importance that is needed in our world. And so we work with incentives like Champions Our Readers and First Book, and basically these organizations just help us like do book drives. One of my favorite events is when we do the book drives. So we'll collect all the books or money for books, and then we'll go to different elementary schools and we will do this like whole event. We have like a costume that we can wear to read to kids too, like a Cat in the Hat costume. And we basically just do this book drive where we give every single kid in the entire school a book, which is literally one of my like favorite memories. And I put that it's also especially important in our area because like Moscow is surrounded by a lot of rural towns that don't have a lot of funding for books. And like we like some of the first book like women who help us told us that some of the books that we give the children are literally like the only books that they have throughout their whole time in their elementary school, just because it is so low funded. So it's just really awesome that like our philanthropy is super needed in our area. And so that's what I love about our philanthropy. And so leadership opportunities, obviously I love talking about this one. That's probably good that I love talking about it, but our fraternity for women actually adopted a new officer structure last year. So instead of only the 8 leadership positions that we used to have, we now have a whole leadership team with 18 people on it, and then 2 committees with 16 people. So that's like an insane amount of more possibilities than were before. So we have obviously still a chapter president, vice presidents, and then directors. And they kind of form their own little specialty teams. And so I just love the new structure because it's like really inclusive to all different personality types. So you could be like, you could love public speaking and want to be chapter president, or you could be more introverted and you could have a role that's like behind the scenes, but still really important. And it's just, there's a position for every type of personality. And so, and there's like lots of opportunities to get involved since there's so many more positions. And I definitely wanted to include what like it has given me, and I'm sure a lot of the other vice presidents can attest to this too, but it's definitely given me a deeper love and understanding for like what our organization does and how big it is and how wide it spans, and just a deeper love for like what Pi Phi truly means and how much it can impact everyone. And it has also given me confidence to like public speak in front of people, to just start conversations, to be myself. And it's definitely been really fulfilling. Like I am also involved in like other campus opportunities, but I think this role has been by far the most fulfilling, and it's given me a lot. And the next thing is our Panhellenic community. So how we contribute to that. So we do have members on the Panhellenic Council and members as recruitment counselors and on the judicial board. But beyond that, we really just like to like promote friendships within the Panhellenic community. So whether that's inviting other Panhellenic members over for dinner, or just like helping our members still foster that relationship with other Panhellenic women and like staying in touch with them no matter what chapter they are, just like kind of spreading the Panhellenic love. And then we also do some sisterhoods with other chapters as well. So one that I just kind of remembered, it popped in my head when I was making this, but we did a studying sister with Tri Delta. And that was really fun because, I mean, through your classes, like you obviously have a lot of Panhellenic women in those classes, not just your own chapter members. So it was fun to kind of connect with people in the same major, but in a different chapter. And then we also like to support the Panhellenic Council. So the Panhellenic Council puts on a lot of amazing like events, like their keynote speakers. To me, they're just so like impactful and meaningful. So we love to just try to represent and have as many people as we can show up to support like the Panhellenic Council. And that is pretty much it. If you guys have questions, I think there's some in this chat box. So let me see. Let me see if there's some specific to us.
Yeah, I kind of grabbed some that were
okay,
specific
awesome.
to you guys, if
Yeah.
it's helpful. So for the study buddies, are girls typically paired with upperclassmen or in their own class?
Yeah, so how our director of academics did it most recently was basically just, I don't think she went by, and Sophie, you might be able to know this too, she didn't go by a certain like major or a certain class ranking, just so everyone could have like a random pairing so that it wasn't like you're kind of stuck with the same major, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think she kind of paired people together that she thought would, would be like successful together is kind of how she did it. So it really didn't depend on if you were freshman, sophomore. Like, it wasn't. I was paired with a sophomore too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just really like who she thought would work well together.
Yeah.
Cool. Another question that I saw was, how many weekly hours do you require?
Yeah. So it's on a sliding scale. So it depends on our GPA. So after the semester, when we do have our GPA, it basically just goes from 1 hour to 8 hours, but only half of those are required through study hours. So you really only have to do 1 to 4. So it's not a huge time commitment, but it is nice that it's kind of on a sliding scale. That way you don't it's flexible for everyone.
Great. And then I have just some questions for you guys that I thought would be good to answer. So how did you choose Pi Beta Phi? Excuse me.
Yeah. Do you want me to go first, Sophia, or you?
I can go first then, okay. So during recruitment, I felt like I knew quite a bit about the sororities beforehand because I knew a lot of people that went to U of I. But really just like I tried to open my mind up to everything during recruitment and disregard like anything that I had heard. And I noticed that at Pi Phi, like I was seriously so comfortable there every day. Like I felt like I could talk about anything. The girls like would recognize me every day that I would come back. And that's ultimately like what made me realize that like it felt like a home. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, so mine is kind of honestly like the same. So the funny thing about me is that I grew up in Moscow, so you'd think that I would know like all the chapters, but I actually like didn't even know Pi Phi existed. I didn't know like any of the chapters or not really a lot of people in them. So I think that was honestly beneficial because it gave me like this huge open mindset. But I did spring recruitment. So it was like very quick and kind of more condensed than fall recruitment. So props to you all for doing fall recruitment if you do it. But basically kind of just the same thing as Sophia. I just felt super comfortable. I remember just talking to this one girl who is now my Greek twin, Megan, and literally just every single day we just like built on our conversations, and it was like never dull, and it was just a huge sense of like comfort, and that like I could definitely see myself living there and then like making more friends there.
Another question that came in, which is a good question, is what is a Greek twin?
That's funny. So a Greek twin is just in the beginning when we mentioned like our big little mentor program. So basically it's when a big has 2 littles instead of just one, and those 2 are called twins.
Yeah, I have one too, and it's super fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Another question that I can jump in and answer, and it also relates to Pi Beta Phi, but do all chapters offer the Big Sis, Little Sis program? So yes, every chapter has Big Sister, Big Little, whatever they call it. I know my chapter calls it Big Little. So every chapter has that opportunity, and I know that it's probably one of the most special opportunities that Greek life, our sororities, Greek life, all of Greek life really does it, offers, and so many people have so many great memories from being a part of a Greek family or having a Greek twin or just getting a big or getting a little. So those are all the questions that we have so far. And thank you, Sophia and Katie, for joining us today.
Sorry, we were a little
thank you so much for waiting for us. We were even like texting about it before. We're like, is this time right? Yeah, so thank you so much.
So funny. Yeah, no, I get confused with the different time zones too. Like that is the biggest struggle.
Yeah, it is such a struggle.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Okay,
thank you. Bye.
Okay, so now we have Kappa Delta. We have Louisa and Lauren. Is Lauren here? I'm not sure if Lauren's here yet. Oh, she is?
Yeah, sorry.
Cool.
Video's
No,
off.
no worries at all. Okay, I'm gonna mute
Okay,
myself
I'm
and
laughing
put my
on
video.
because I want to
Oh.
say hi to Louisa. You're wonderful. You both are wonderful, but I haven't seen Louisa.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's all you.
Okay, so we just wanted to start off and kind of give an introduction to who we are and like what we do in our chapter. So my name is Lauren, and I'm the Vice President of Membership for Kappa Delta sorority. And basically, I'm planning everything for recruitment. I do a lot of sisterhoods within our house. That's basically kind of like what I do. Louisa?
Lisa. I'm chapter president at Kappa Delta, and I have a video to let you get to know our sorority to start with, and I will share screen real quick, and then afterwards we can answer any general questions and talk a little bit more about our sorority experience and the Panhellenic experience in general. So, share. It's not playing. It was playing. Let me try this again. Oh, there we go.
I don't know why I can't hear it from the side.
Oh, you can't hear it? Is that a problem for anyone else?
Yeah, I can't hear it either. You might just need to turn the volume up on your computer itself, or even on the video if it has if it has a chance to do that.
Can you hear it now?
Yes. Oh, maybe not.
Really?
I heard it for a second, yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I don't know why.
Shoot. Let me see if this computer up. Go up. Gosh.
There. Oh.
Yeah. Can you hear it?
It starts like the first part of the video.
I think maybe because it's just maybe maybe the connection. I think that might be it. But let's just play it and because the volume is on. Let's try that.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do it from my phone because it seems really staticky on my end. And if it doesn't work, we will do something else.
Sorry about the confusion.
No, that's totally okay. Sometimes it's hard to get things to play on Zoom, and we're all new to it.
Okay, let's. I don't know how to do this.
If I can also maybe link it in the chat and people can watch it if they'd like.
Yeah, can do that. Yeah, so I guess then we can just start kind of talking about our experience, or if there's any questions at this point, we can answer those. But, oh, interesting. Lauren, you're actually on my Zoom somehow. But yeah, we can. Lauren, do you want to start talking about our philanthropy, and I will get the video sent to the chat?
Yeah, I sent it to the chat, but I'll start talking about philanthropy. So basically, sorry, this is all not working right now, but our philanthropies, we have 2 national philanthropies and 1 local philanthropy. And our national philanthropies are Prevent Child Abuse America and Girl Scouts of the USA. One of our biggest things as being part of Kappa Delta is promoting confidence, both in our women in our chapter, but also around our community and throughout the world. And so with these 2 organizations, we raise money to support Prevent Child Abuse America. And with Girl Scouts, we do more hands-on stuff with them. We want to focus on building those lifelong friendships and promoting confidence in the younger women so that they grow up to be those confident women. And some of the things that we do with them are we carve pumpkins with them during Halloween, and we also go around campus and help them sell Girl Scout cookies, which is always a really fun time. Our local philanthropy is Boost Collaborative, and 80% of the money that we raise for our philanthropies goes to our local philanthropy. And Boost Collaborative works with building confidence in people who have disabilities in the police region. And for raising money for our philanthropies, some of the things we do is we have a quesadilla night, and we basically make quesadillas all night and sell them to people around the community. And all of those proceeds go towards our philanthropies. And we also have our Shamrock Soccer Tournament, which is a really fun tournament where everyone in the Greek community participates. And so that's something that we do with our philanthropies.
Like Lauren mentioned, we try to integrate building confidence and inspiring action into most of what we do on campus and in the community. The reason we have the philanthropies and we support them the way that we do is with Prevent Child Abuse America, we want to support organizations that will help support families and children so that they can have the confidence to move forward, because abuse is such a systemic problem with lowering confidence and therefore lowering children's ability to perform and be able to function. And then with Girl Scouts, like Lauren said, we work with the local Girl Scout troop. We've also done confidence building workshops with them. So we have them come over to our house, and they can draw pictures of what they want to be when they grow up, and we can talk about what we do in college. And so that's a really fun relationship that we have. Yeah, and then as far as on-campus stuff, we run a couple PR events every year on campus for, we call it Coffee and Confidence, and we hand out coffee or lemonade, and we have people write down what makes them confident on a board or on slips of paper if they'd like. And last year we delivered stuff for them. Lauren, is there anything else you want to say about that?
I think you hit most of the points. Yeah, last year we did make little care packages for all of the sororities and fraternities on campus. So that's something that we really like to do to get more involved into the community.
So Kappa Delta has a week-long philanthropy process. I think that's what most of the other Panhellenic sororities do on campus. Most of us have a couple events, maybe a food fundraiser and maybe a coin fundraiser, and then usually kind of a big event at the end of the week. And generally all of those proceeds go then towards that sororities philanthropy organizations, however they distribute that. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions about philanthropies and how we tend to run those in the Panhellenic community? It's fine.
We have two questions so far on some stuff you've talked about. The first one being, how has Kappa Delta benefited your experience in college?
Lisa, do you want me to start, or?
Go for it, Lauren.
Okay. I think like one of the biggest things is just like, obviously you're not like put into a group of friends. Like it's something that like, that's obviously you have to build friendships, but it's definitely nice like being in an organization where you are kind of just like forced into a group of random women, and it's just like a really fun way for us to make friends. And also I think having that support system, especially with like sisterhoods. And I know last year like I went through something pretty difficult, and I always had my sisters, like I had like at least 6 or 7 of them checking in on me, and so that was something that like I really appreciated.
For me, I think coming to college, it was a really amazing experience to be able, like Lauren said, to have a group of women who I could become close with. Living in a sorority with a bunch of other women, it's kind of a once in a lifetime experience to live with girls from all different majors, all different backgrounds, all different interest levels, and you get to find people who you share some things with and get to learn something totally new about on another level. So just meeting people, it's an amazing experience and opportunity. For me personally, it really gave me a lot of mentors coming into college. I found that having upperclassmen that had the same major as I did, having them as a resource to go talk to, I remember seeing an upperclassman on campus my freshman year, and she stopped me and she said, "Louisa, do you want to know the secret of success in college, or do you want to find it out yourself?" I said, "You can tell me." And she said, stay on campus. Don't go back to your room and, maybe you won't get as much done, try to stay on campus. And so it's just a bunch of people who want to help you succeed, and they're there and they're supportive, and it's that kind of a system. Additionally, for me, I found that leadership opportunities within the sorority are really amazing, the growth experiences. I've had opportunities to manage people, projects, budgets. I've also been VP operations and VP finance for my sorority. And so just learning how new things work and getting to work with people in ways that you wouldn't in a typical college experience has been positive for me.
And I think to add to that, just like having so many people with like different interests and stuff, there's always people that are telling you other stuff that's going on in campus, which I don't think I would have gotten if I hadn't joined Kappa Delta, because people are always doing presentations or leading workshops, and those are stuff that like I probably wouldn't even know about if I hadn't met these women.
I also see these other questions that I thought were really good and build upon what you were talking about. But what does Kappa Delta do to hold members accountable for academics?
Lauren, do you want me to take that one?
Sure, you can start.
Okay, so we have an academic program, and that involves asking members to complete a certain number of study hours every week. In addition, our academic chairperson, she asks people to send her a study paragraph every other week, and that's kind of her way to check in and see if there's anyone who maybe is struggling in a class or thinks they might need resources, or to have a discussion about what kind of resources they could use. Additionally, at midterms, if we have members who aren't meeting our minimum GPA requirement, then she has an academic meeting with those members individually, along with one of our advisors. And that's a way to really brainstorm the best way to support members that might be struggling in a given semester. We have a new member education program, which has to do with learning about our chapter, as well as kind of just acclimating to college. And that's about a 2-month process, right, Lauren? 2 months?
I think it's 6 weeks until initiation, yeah.
6 weeks. So in addition to our academic chairman and any other person that they want to reach out to, our freshmen are able to utilize their member educator to find out about other resources on campus and within the house that we have.
And then on top of that, on Sundays, our academic chair also leads kind of like a study table. So that's a specific time where all of our members can get together and really just focus in a quiet environment and work on whatever they need to be for school.
And we have a room designated in our house for 24/7 quiet study hours. If someone wants to go somewhere where it's absolutely quiet to study, they can go there. Otherwise, we have study spaces in all of our day rooms, and that every person has access to, that has lights and space and drawers and stuff. Yeah, I was going to say something. I forgot.
No, you answered that so well, both of you. Another question that came through was, do you have any pre-vet majors in your sorority?
I believe we do. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep track because I know we did when I came into the house. I think at University of Idaho, it's pretty common to have people who either are involved in pre-vet or are friends or know people that could help get people in touch with people that are in pre-vet, just because there's both the farm animals side and then the small animals side. I believe we have a couple.
I think we have 2.
Yeah.
I know Megan is pre-vet.
And I'll just also pop in and say, I kind of mentioned this earlier in this event, but all sororities have a plethora or like a multitude of different majors that are in their houses. And what's really unique is that all chapters are able to go to class and see other women from other sororities and make those connections. So just because maybe one chapter doesn't have necessarily a major, that doesn't mean that chapter isn't there to support you in all of your academic endeavors, nor will you find other women in the Panhellenic community that can also be of support to you. I don't think there are any more questions. They're just very broad questions that Evelyn and I are going to try to tackle. So do you have anything else?
I think like what Kylie was saying with academics, one of the nice cool things about the Panhellenic community is when you're in a class and you're talking to the person next to you, and maybe it's the beginning of the semester and you don't really know anyone in the class, but then you're sitting next to someone who maybe they're not in your sorority, but they're in another sorority, and you have something that you share, kind of a shared experience, and that can help form connections within your classes that then translate into study groups or other connections, or hearing about things that are going on. So just in that sense, the Panhellenic community is just kind of a great foundational thing to share in common with other people that you can talk about and form other relationships from. What else? That also can translate to activities that you do outside of school or the Greek community. I mean, I know I've heard about certain opportunities on campus from people who were Greek students, but were participating in other things on campus. We have girls in our house that are involved in ASUI, in a lot of the on-campus clubs and organizations. We actually really strongly encourage our members to be involved in non-Greek organizations.
Also, all of our members are involved in at least one club on campus. And I know there's girls who are ambassadors of their college. And so that's something, if you're something interested in getting more involved in your college, like whoever asked about the pre-vet question, that's also another way you can get involved.
Can I ask a question? Yes. This is Shani, sorry. And maybe this is already asked, I'm so sorry. I was like on 2 different calls at once. It was very bad planning on my part. Can you share one of your favorite memories and how it impacted your experience within Kappa Delta? Was that a question that has already been asked?
No, that's a great question.
Perfect.
For me, I remember I was going into my French class and I saw another girl from my house who was from my pledge class that I didn't know very well. And this was after about a semester in living in the house. And afterwards, she came up to me and she said, we should study together. And so come the first test, we were both down in our study room and, trying to get through the review material. And then we started helping each other study. And then all of a sudden we were talking about everything going on in our lives until 3 a.m. And then we thought we should probably go to bed. But she's been one of my closest friends ever since. And so that's one of my favorite memories.
I think one of my favorite memories was honestly when I got my big. I think that was she's just been we're very similar in everything that we do, and I don't think I would be where I am today without her, especially because I struggled first semester of college, and she was always there to check in on me, ask me what she can do to help me, where she can take me, giving me resources on where I can go study, who I can get help from. So I think that's probably been one of my favorite memories.
Thank you.
The big little system is another it's an interesting and really usually pretty effective way that members get mentorship within the Greek community and in their individual chapters. Every member in our house gets a diamond sister when they first come in on bid day, and that's a person who kind of acts as a surrogate big sister until our actual big little process goes on. So it's a person who these 2 systems are kind of ways that there's someone to guide them and help them find their way around the house to begin with, and just be there to help them answer any questions that they might have, because the Greek experience, it's amazing, but it's also totally new for anyone who joins it. I mean, there's really not much you can do to understand what it's like until you've been in it. And so the big sister is someone who's been there for a while and can help kind of ease any concerns or worries, or just help be there to reassure that everything's good. Kylie, I saw there was an Evelyn going to answer that.
Hi, I'm so sorry. You cut out on me. What did you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
I saw that there was a question about food. Did you want me to answer that, or did you want you and Evelyn to answer that?
If you'd like to answer it, you're more than welcome to. We were just, some of the questions, if they weren't Kappa Delta specific, then we were just kind of glossing over them, but you are more than welcome to tackle that.
Either way. Lauren, do you want to talk about Misty and our kitchen and how that works?
Yeah, I can. See, I didn't see the question. I don't think it showed up on my screen.
Oh, I can read it.
Yeah.
How does the food cooking situation work in a sorority? Do members who live in have access to a kitchen to make themselves food?
Okay, so we have meals served Monday or Sunday dinner through Friday lunch. So on the weekends, unfortunately we don't get food, but our chef is pretty accommodating with that, and she'll always put leftovers in the fridge for the weekend if we don't want to spend extra money, because obviously money is tight in college. And unfortunately we aren't allowed to use our kitchen, but we do have a kitchenette that has some appliances that we're able to use. But yeah, we don't have full access to the kitchen, but our chef is very accommodating. For me, I have a dairy allergy, and so she makes me a separate meal that's accommodating towards my allergies, and with other people who have allergies, she does the same. And last year, I think one of my favorite things she did for me last year was I brought my grandmother's recipe for Filipino barbecue because I really missed it. And I gave it to her, and she made it for the whole chapter. And that was something that, like, it really touched my heart, because I don't obviously have that experience in college as much. So for her to bring a piece of home to Kappa Delta was honestly one of the best experiences I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can also, oh, sorry, Louisa, go ahead.
Nope.
So kind of piggybacking off that question, how does the food/cooking situation work in a sorority? Do members who live in have access to a kitchen to make themselves food? So all sororities are equipped with like an industrial kitchen and a chef that provides them food throughout the week. And each chapter is different as to what meals they do provide. I do know one chapter provides a hot breakfast meal every day, whereas the majority of sororities just have a kind of a continental breakfast, I would say, or not really continental, but like cereals and bagels and whatnot to make in the morning, and then are given cooked meals for lunch and dinner. So that's kind of the food cooking situation. And a lot of chapters also have fridges where they can store leftover food and access whenever they would like meals or any other food items, or heat up anything that they missed or want more of. So yeah, that's kind of answering a little bit about generally how sororities work with the food and cooking situation. And then someone said, so is it possible to survive the weekend without buying food? That is totally possible. In sororities, you have access to the refrigerators for food, any leftover food, and then also I know a lot of sororities have snacks and bagels and cereal and granola bars, all kinds of different things to keep you fed throughout the weekend. I just realized I didn't have my video on. So hopefully that answers those questions. Is there anything else you two would like to add about Kappa Delta?
Not specifically. Not for me. I don't know. It's, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add.
Okay, thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I guess Evelyn and I will go ahead and answer the rest of these questions so you don't feel like we're not answering your questions really quickly. And Shane, can also pop in and answer them. So I'm just going to start at the very top of the question and answer bar and go down the line. So the first one is, which chapters are okay with sisters living outside of the house while being a part of the sorority? That's a really good question. So all chapters, it's basically dependent on any chapter. So chapters have their own way of allowing